Good morning, and once again, big thank you to MPEDA and DOC for arranging this wonderful interactive program. I think speaking after Manoj is a task because no one can be as emphatic or as I would go one step ahead and say as dramatic and as Manoj can be, as a very dear friend. At the cost of being repetitive, I would term India's export of today as, I'm sure MPEDA has heard it several times, but I'm repeating myself, as being a one product, one state, and one market wonder. Meaning, we grossly depend on Venami for our exports. It's from Andhra where it goes, and US primarily was the biggest market for us. If anything happens to these three factors, we'll have a tough time to maintain the level of exports which we have achieved. And I think this forum, and why I say this is because this forum since yesterday has given many answers to this basic question, from species diversification to all other aspects of this trade, changing a track, maintaining where it is, and growing from here. Once again, thank you, sir, Chairman Saab, for giving this opportunity. Again, it's nothing new which I'm saying. Everyone here in the room is aware of this, but I think it's just to wake up our minds and realize where we have to be. The biggest challenges which the export industry today is facing is the market access and level playing fields. Sir, I think SEAI's rounds to Delhi for the last 3 years, it started with China, it went on for Europe. I mean, of course, Europe was the first with delisting and then 50% sampling and not opening up of our new units for exports to the European Union. We today have probably the best processing facilities in the world, sir, today. Thanks to PLI, a huge investment has taken place in this sector. I was reading through my friend Anil's report, and it says that we have a huge processing capacity of roughly 35,000 tons a day, cold store capacity of about 450,000 tons a day, of which only 35% is utilized. The processing capacity is only utilized by 35%. So this is because it's not, we should not panic on this because we are mitigating the peak, the landings and the peak harvesting times. That is why we have to have our large capacities. But then it's an opportunity. This processing capacity which we have, which lies idle for about 6 months, the peak is not for 6 months, it's only for about 6 months is where we peak, and another 6 months is where we operate at about 40-45%. So that is where the opportunity of India becoming a processing hub comes. But of course, with DOF, there have been certain challenges which have been addressed. I think hopefully in coming days, we'll be coming out with certain policy announcements which may support import of fish for reprocessing. I think MPEDA and SEAI has been vehemently trying to get this done, and I think we are reaching the end of the tunnel now. So I think that's a good thing which is going to happen. With this processing hub concept, there are two challenges which will primarily come to this sector. One is that we need, even today, when you talk about electronics and other aspects where India wants to grow, there are certain things which India is grossly dependent on the import, on the export market from foreign nations. So when we, for ingredients, for value-added machinery, for all these things, we definitely need to import certain inputs. And today, we've said this to MPEDA. I think MPEDA also has proposed this. Sir, since you are here, I think this can be moved forward. Today we are allowed a free import of 1% on our FOB. I think if we want to achieve any goal or anywhere close to reaching from 18th position today, we are the 7th largest exporter of seafood, sir. And we are 18th in the rank in terms of value addition. This can change both very easily by, the 7th largest position can change in the first 5 very easily if the value addition takes place. But then there are challenges for value addition. Primarily, if you see, we have a large, there's an opportunity in having a large workforce here, but then the challenge there is that this workforce is not adequately trained. There are programs by Netfish and other institutions where training takes place, but I think there is more to be done there. That is what will only lead us. Of course, MPEDA off and on calls experts from Vietnam, from Thailand, but I think that capacity building has to take place in India itself. Why such a large country, which is a larger exporter than Vietnam and Thailand put together? We have the more number of processing facilities. Our workforce is larger. Why do we have to import, experts? I think that capacity building in the next few years has to very quickly take place within India, so that we meet this challenge. Now, as I said, scope of adding value addition. There are, and again I repeat myself, 2% if allowed, I think will change a lot of things, because we need inputs and ingredients, filleting knives, and there are so many things. I can give you a list of things which are required to be supported, which are there. Some of them are already there in the allowable imports, and I think some need to be added. I think that needs to be corrected. The biggest challenge we have today vis-a-vis our competitors, sir, when we talk today, we are only talking in terms of aquaculture in that sector. But even in the marine sector, the biggest challenge we have today is a level playing field. If you see what Ecuador is getting, of course, like Manoj said, the cost of production is much lower than us. But even when the cost of sales is much lower than us. And there is where we lose the battle, sir. Of course, as an exporter, my purview and my forte would be when I get the best price for my country. But then, when I export into the European market, I already start at 4% lower than Vietnam, which has a duty advantage there. We've been talking about this to DOC for a while. For my brothers from the processing and export sector, it is not an overnight process. We've been trying, both MPEDA and SEAI together have been talking to government why it is required, how it is hampering our growth. So a level playing field is very essential in terms of FTAs. The government is already doing a lot of FTAs. But then I think when you you have to change the narrative our sector needs to change the narrative from a revenue earner to an employment generator. The Department of Fisheries, the figure says that this sector employs roughly 21 million people. So every second Indian in 100 is depending on, every 2 Indians in 100 Indians is directly or indirectly dependent on the seafood sector. So that's a huge amount of people. And if you study along the coastline, the lives of the people, the standard of living, the standard of education, there are certain pockets in Kerala, there are certain pockets in Tamil Nadu, which are better off. But grossly, if you see the populace of this entire sector along the coastlines, and even where the aquaculture activity takes place, I think the average standard of living is much lower than the people living otherwise. If you go to a place like Veraval, where it is the highest cluster of fish processing units, the standard of living is not anywhere close to a city which generates about 3,000 crores of export. So I think for this, every one of us here, in all state fisheries departments and also at the center, we should be giving more focus to the humanitarian aspect of this sector, be it our fishermen and our farmers. Sir, there is a very big talk about, and Manoj also emphasized on this, and Department of Fisheries has been always talking about this, about the domestic market. Domestic market is a very important aspect for this entire sector, no doubt about it. But I think we need to integrate the domestic and the export market very well. Because for meeting our costs, we need the niche export markets. So we need to focus that. The focus has to be in a double approach. And like what Manoj said, whatever is for harvest, for stress harvest, or for anything which is undersized, or which doesn't get the best price in the foreign market, I think that should be administered to the local or the domestic market. So I think that way we will be able to achieve the best prices for our farmers and our fishermen. Sir, I've always been a strong advocate of whenever I get an opportunity to talk on forums like this and address our sector. Sometimes my exporters might feel that he talks more for the farmers and fishermen than he talks for our lobby. But I think it is very sensible, and it is very, very essential for us exporters to see that our farmers and our fishermen thrive. It is only then that we will survive. So, spelling out some of the challenges and certain opportunities which lie ahead of us in this sector, I think we will achieve, the way the seriousness has come to this sector, sir. And I can say, I was in Gujarat during the course of, before our Honorable Prime Minister came to Delhi. We've had n number of Sagar Khedu semillans. Basically, he wanted to understand what the fishermen wants and how they live. So, I, coming from the fisherman community, I have closely know the approach what he wants to take. And I think that has spilled over to the entire government machinery today. Coming up of Department of Fishery is a welcome move to our sector. We will not realize this now, but in the coming years we will see what effect it will have on the sector, sir. The PMSY, where did we ever imagine that such a huge amount of money could be earmarked for this sector? But I think there is a scope there also, sir, that all the stakeholders need to be more consulted on the way we spend this huge amount of resource, and see that we all collectively achieve the goal of India becoming the largest exporter in the world, the biggest producer of aquaculture shrimp in the world, or aquaculture fish and shrimp in the world, and also being the most conservative or being an economy or a fishing system which is in line with the ecology and the environment. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me. Thank you.